On the distant planet of Vorith 9, the sky burned a strange shade of red. The Theru, a proud alien race, were preparing for a battle they knew they could not win. Their enemy, a terrifying species called the Devourers, was closing in fast. Ships swarmed to the atmosphere, and the ground shook under the power of their weapons. Commander Zyron looked at the horizon, his long fingers clenching in frustration. "We are finished," he muttered. "No force in this galaxy can stop them now." Around him, the Theru Council hurriedly sent distress signals. Their message was simple but desperate. "We need help, any help. The Devourers are too strong." But as the signals went out into space, Zyron felt a pang of doubt. Who would answer? Who even cared about Vorith 9? Suddenly, a strange energy wave rippled across the planet. The sky, already red from the fires of war, began to darken in unusual patterns. A low hum filled the air. The Theru soldiers looked up, hearts pounding, expecting the Devourers to appear at any moment. Then, from the dark horizon, a shadow appeared, massive, impossible. It moved with purpose, faster than any ship they had ever seen. The shadow grew closer. The ground trembled under its presence. The Theru gasped. It's the Devourers," someone shouted. Panic spread to the ranks like wildfire. But as the shadow landed, reality hit them like a shockwave. It wasn't the Devourers. Thousands of ships, sleek and strong, formed in perfect formation above Vorith 9. The human Armada had arrived. The Theru froze. They had heard stories of humans from old galactic explorers. Weak, primitive, slow, the legends always laughed at humanity's strength. Yet, here they were, thousands of ships, weapons ready, moving with precision that even the Theru could not comprehend. Commander Zyron's antennae trembled in disbelief. This cannot be. Humans? Why are they here? A calm, clear voice crackled to the Theru comm system. It was Captain Rhea Cole, the human fleet leader. Her voice was steady, confident, almost unnerving in its simplicity. "You asked for reinforcements. Humanity answers." The Theru leaders exchanged worried looks. Someone had forwarded their distress signal to humans. But who? And why would humanity respond? Zyron swallowed hard. They are serious. Human ships began to descend to the planet, each landing with a controlled precision that seemed unnatural. Dust and debris rose as their engines powered down. The ground shook slightly under the weight of these enormous vessels. On the surface, humans began to emerge in armored suits. They were tall, strong, and moving with quiet purpose. Unlike the Theru, they showed no fear, no panic, no hesitation. A Theru soldier whispered to his neighbor, They are small compared to us. How can they?" Captain Cole approached Zyron and his council. She did not bow. She did not ask permission. She simply stood, looking around at the alien leaders with a calm intensity. "We are here to help," she said. "Show us the enemy positions. Tell us what you need. That is all." Zyron felt a strange mix of awe and fear. Humans did not act like anyone he had met in the galaxy. They did not negotiate. They did not fear. They simply acted. Around them, Theru soldiers muttered among themselves. Many were skeptical. Humans were supposed to be weak. Their weapons were basic. Their ships were small. And yet, every human movement carried confidence and silent power. As the Devourers' fleets drew closer, the air filled with tension. The Theru expected chaos, screams, and death. They expected the humans to run or fail. But humans stayed calm. Their ships hovered silently in formation. Soldiers checked their weapons. Machines hummed quietly, scanning the battlefield. Not one human seemed afraid. Not one faltered. Zyron turned to one of his aides. What are they planning?" The aide shook his head. "I do not know, but whatever it is, it feels unstoppable." Captain Cole spoke again, this time directly to Zyron. Her voice was calm but carried authority that made the alien leader shiver. "Do not worry about what humans are. Worry about what the enemy is. We will handle them." The Theru could only watch, unsure whether to trust or fear these newcomers. And above them all, the sky began to darken further. The Devourers were almost here, and the moment of truth approached. But one thing was clear to every Thera present. Humanity had arrived, and the galaxy was about to learn a lesson it would never forget. The red sky above Vorith, 9 still burned, but now a new tension filled the air. The Theru could hardly believe what they were seeing. Thousands of human ships had landed, and humans were moving across the battlefield as if they owned the planet. Calm, confident, unafraid. Commander Zyron could feel his antennae quiver. How can they be so calm? He asked. Around him, his soldiers whispered, fear and doubt spreading like fire. Captain Rhea Cole stood on the top of a human landing ship, looking at the alien council. Her face showed no emotion, but her eyes burned with focus. She raised her hand and pointed toward the horizon. Show us the battlefield, she said simply. Zyron hesitated. He was used to allies begging for orders, showing panic, or making mistakes. But these humans, they did not wait. They moved forward with precision. The human soldiers began to unload strange machines from their ships. Small, black devices that hummed with energy. They rolled across the ground like living creatures, scanning everything in sight. The Theru had no idea what they were. What are they doing? Whispered a young Theru scout. Captain Cole turned to the aliens. We scan first. We strike later. You will see the difference. The Theru muttered amongst themselves. They had weapons far stronger than humans. Their ships were larger, faster, deadlier. And yet, somehow, humans moved like they already knew how to win. In the distance, the Devourers were approaching fast. Dark clouds of bioships filled the skies, their massive forms blotting out stars. The ground trembled under the roar of their engines. Zyron swallowed. We have no chance, he said quietly. The Devourers, they will destroy everything. Captain Cole tilted her head slightly. Do you trust us? She asked. Zyron hesitated. He did not know if he should, but there was something in her voice. Calm, certain, and unshakable. He nodded slowly. Then follow our plan, she said. Do exactly as we say. Everything else is on us. The humans began to organize the Theru forces. They moved soldiers into tight formations. They placed energy nets across key points. They positioned drones in the sky that flickered like fireflies but emitted strange energy waves. The Theru watched in disbelief. Their best commanders could not have arranged their forces this well. And yet, humans did it calmly, without shouting, without panic. Every move had a purpose. One Theru officer finally spoke up, shaking his head. They are small, weak, but somehow they make us feel useless. Captain Cole smiled faintly, though she did not look directly at him. Weak? She said. We call it focus. The Theru could hardly follow the human strategy. Machines moved like living allies. Soldiers communicated with subtle gestures and short words. Yet every Theru understood that humans were in complete control. And then one of the scanning drones spotted the first wave of Devourer ships. Enemy detected. Cole said calmly, They are close. Stay ready. Theru soldiers panicked. Some trembling. Others yelling orders that were already obsolete. Humans did not rush. Humans did not panic. They stood firm. Captain Cole tapped a small device on her wrist, and the human fleet began to shift, moving with perfect coordination. Ships rotated. Drones hovered in protective formations, and energy shields lit the battlefield. It was beautiful. It was terrifying. Zyron could only watch. He whispered to an aide, I have never seen a plan like this in my life. They are not human. They are... The aide's voice caught in his throat. They are something else. Captain Cole raised her hand. The humans froze in position, waiting. The Devourers were only moments away. And in that moment, one truth became clear to every Theru watching. Humans were not here to survive. Humans were here to win. The first shots had not even been fired, yet the battlefield already felt different. The humans did not fear. They did not hesitate. And somehow they made the Theru believe that maybe, just maybe, they had a chance. The red sky darkened further. Shadows stretched across Vorith. 9 as the first ships of the Devourers appeared. Massive, black, and twisted. They moved like living monsters. The air trembled under the weight of their engines. Commander Zyron looked at the alien soldiers around him. Many were already panicking. Some dropped to their knees, fearing the end. This is it, one soldier whispered. We are finished. But the humans stood calm. Captain Rhea Cole observed the approaching enemy, her eyes scanning every ship, every movement. She raised her hand, and the Vanguard Division, the elite human strike team, immediately took positions. Phase 1, she said softly. At once, human ships moved with impossible precision. They formed tight formations, weaving through the battlefield like threads of steel. Small drones darted forward, scanning enemy ships and sending data back to human command center. The Theru could only watch, astonished. They are too organized, Zyron muttered. No alien fleet has ever done this. The Devourers opened fire. Beams of energy tore through the sky, striking the ground and Theru defenses alike. Fires erupted on Vorith, 9, and screams echoed across the battlefield. Theru soldiers panicked. Their formations broke almost immediately. But the humans? They barely moved. Their ships shifted like living creatures, deflecting attacks, and their energy nets captured entire enemy ships in glowing grids. Captain Cole gave another calm command. Hold formation. Do not engage until I say. The Theru were confused. Why wait? The enemy was already here. But humans had a plan, and every action, every moment of calm, was part of it. Then the humans struck. Small ships surged forward, invisible at first, before releasing plasma clouds that exploded around the Devourers' ships. Energy nets tightened, pulling enemy vessels into traps. Explosions shook the air, and the Devourers screamed in fury, realizing their attacks were being neutralized. Zyron could not believe his eyes. How are they doing this? He gasped. Their weapons, they are simple yet effective. Captain Cole's voice came over the comms, calm and unwavering. Simplicity is power. Complexity slows you down. Watch carefully, Commander. Humanity fights differently. Humans deployed small, black machines onto the battlefield. They move like shadows, infiltrating Devourer ships, sabotaging engines, and sending precise, fatal strikes. Not one human ship was lost. Not one soldier faltered. The Devourers roared in frustration, their massive fleet faltering under the unexpected human tactics. Their size and power, which had crushed countless species before, seemed useless against this strange, fearless army. Zyron turned to an aide, voice shaking. They are too clever, too fast, too human. One human soldier on the ground shouted, Captain, enemy ship approaching, front left. Cole did not panic. She pointed at the ship. Engaged the drone nets. Gravity spears ready. In moments, the Devourer vessel was trapped, held in a glowing web of energy. Then, in a flash, it exploded. The Theru gasped. We have never seen this before. Captain Cole walked among her troops calmly, checking their formations and equipment. Do not get excited. This is just beginning. From every corner of the battlefield, humans continued their precision strikes. Energy shields, plasma clouds, drones, gravity spears, all worked in perfect harmony. The Devourers were powerful, yes, but they were disorganized, predictable, and completely unprepared for humans. Zyron's jaw dropped. I cannot believe it. Humans, they are unstoppable. Even as explosions rocked the sky, humans never faltered. Calm, controlled, deadly. And in that moment, every Theru soldier realized the truth. The legends about humans being weak were wrong. Not only were humans strong, there was something else entirely. Something terrifying and magnificent. Captain Cole's voice rang across the battlefield, calm, confident, and commanding. Devourers, you have underestimated humanity. That mistake will cost you everything. Above Vorith, 9, the sky burned with fire and energy. The first battle of humans versus Devourers had begun. And one thing was already clear. The galaxy would never look at humans the same way again. The battlefield of Vorith, 9, was chaos. Fires burned across the surface. Devourer ships exploded in flashes of orange and red, and the air trembled with energy. Yet, Amid the chaos, the humans remained calm. Commander Zyron could hardly believe his eyes. How? How can they fight like this? One human squad can destroy 10 of our ships at once, he whispered. Captain Rhea Cole stood on the deck of her flagship, surveying the battlefield. Her eyes were sharp, calculating. She raised her hand, and a small device hummed to life. From it, invisible forces rippled across the Devourer fleet. Ships were lifted slightly off balance, their weapons jammed, their formations disrupted. Gravity control, a human soldier explained calmly. It slows them down just enough for our strike. Zyron's antennae twitched. Gravity control? That's impossible. Cole smiled faintly. Nothing is impossible if you know how to use it. On the ground, human squads move with lethal precision. Small plasma spears shot from their weapons, striking multiple enemy units at once. Drones circled the battlefield like black sparks, sabotaging Devourer engines silently. Every human action was deadly, controlled, and perfectly timed. Theros soldiers whispered among themselves. They are using simple weapons, but they destroy everything. Do they have magic? One young Thero asked, voice shaking. Not magic, Cole said, as if she could hear them. We call it preparation. The truth behind human power was finally revealed. Humans had studied. They had trained. Every soldier, every ship, every weapon had a purpose. The Devourers, though massive and terrifying, were predictable. Humans exploited every weakness, every small mistake, every gap in their defenses. Zyron finally understood. It is not strength, it is strategy, discipline, focus. And there was more. Deep within the human flagship, Captain Cole had activated a device called the Nova Matrix. Small and unassuming, it pulsed with energy like a heartbeat. It could alter energy flow across entire enemy fleets, disabling engines and turning the tide of battle. The Thero could only stare in awe. They had never imagined that humans had such technology. They had been hiding this power, Zyron murmured. Cole raised her hand again. Phase 2. Engage the Nova Matrix. Instantly, the Devourer's ships began to falter. Engines slowed. Weapons misfired. Chaos spread through their ranks. Humans struck at the exact moment, destroying enemy ships with surgical precision. The battlefield shook, and Devourers roared in fury. Theros soldiers were in disbelief. They had fought bravely, but against humans, they felt powerless. Every attack, every maneuver, every strategy humans used seemed unstoppable. Captain Cole turned to Zyron. Your species fought bravely, but it is time you saw what humans do when they protect their allies. Zyron felt a chill. They are not here to just help us. They are here to win completely. Humans move like a single mind. Not one human hesitated. Not one ship faltered. Every soldier, every machine, every weapon worked in perfect harmony. The Devourers, though terrifying, were no match. For the first time in the Theros' history, they saw a species that combined intelligence, strategy, and relentless courage in a way no one had ever imagined. Humans were not just fighters. They were something else. Something that could change the course of the galaxy. Zyron finally bowed his head slightly, humbled. We underestimated them. Humanity is beyond anything we imagined. Captain Cole's voice echoed over the battlefield, calm, confident, and deadly. Do not forget this, Commander. The galaxy fears humans not because we are monsters, but because we protect those who need us. And we never fail. The Devourers were faltering. Their fleet was in disarray. The humans had revealed their hidden power, and now, nothing would be the same. The Thero whispered among themselves, fear and admiration mixing in every voice. Humans were not weak. Humans were unstoppable. The battlefield of Vorith, 9 shook violently. Fire spread across the surface. Devourer ships screamed in rage, and the air was filled with the sound of explosions. For a moment, it seemed the Devourers might recover, but humans were ready. Captain Rhea Cole surveyed the chaos from her flagship. Her calm eyes scanned every corner of the battlefield. Phase 3, she said softly. Time to end this. Thousands of human ships move in perfect synchronization. The Devourers, though terrifying and massive, were scattered and confused. Energy nets, gravity spears, plasma clouds, all worked together flawlessly, disabling enemy weapons and trapping entire fleets. Xiron, standing beside his soldiers, could hardly believe it. How are they doing this? One human fleet, they control everything. On the ground, human squads move with precision. Captain Cole personally led the Vanguard strike team toward the Devourer command ship, the largest vessel in the enemy fleet. It hovered above the planet like a black sun, dark and menacing. "This is it," Cole said to her team. "Nova Core in place. We succeed or the galaxy suffers forever." The team moved silently across enemy lines. Devourer guards reacted too slowly, falling to plasma blasts and precision strikes. Humans moved like shadows, never making a mistake, never hesitating. Inside the command ship, alarms screamed as systems failed one by one. The Devourer leader could not understand how a primitive species had infiltrated the heart of its fleet. Captain Cole planted the Nova Core, a small but immensely powerful device. Its energy pulsed like a heartbeat, ready to explode in a chain reaction that would destroy the ship from inside. The countdown began. Seconds felt like hours. Human soldiers covered the exit, engaging enemy fighters in hand-to-hand combat when necessary. Not one human faltered. Not one soldier retreated. Xiron watched from the surface, heart pounding. If they succeed, this will be the first time in history anyone defeated the Devourer command fleet. The Devourer ship shuddered. Alarms screamed louder. The Nova Core's energy spread through the engines, weapons, and control systems. It was unstoppable. Captain Cole tapped her wrist device. "Evacuate now." The Vanguard strike team retreated to the battlefield as the countdown reached 0. And then, boom! A massive explosion ripped through the sky. The Devourer command ship shattered, pieces raining down across Vorth 9. The shockwave disabled nearby enemy ships, and the remaining Devourers began to retreat in disarray for the first time in history. Theru soldiers stood in stunned silence. Their greatest enemy had been broken by humans. Xiron bowed his head, awed. They have done it. Humans, they are unstoppable. Captain Cole's voice rang over the battlefield, calm and clear. "The enemy is defeated. Protect what matters. Always. That is humanity's way." Even as fires burned and smoke rose, one truth was clear to everyone on Vorth. 9. Humans were not just fighters. They were legends in the making. The galaxy would never forget this day. And for the first time, the Theru understood what it truly meant to have human allies. The battlefield of Vorth 9 was silent. Fires still burned, debris floated in the red sky, and the Devourers had retreated, broken and scattered. The planet, once filled with fear and chaos, now held a strange quiet. Commander Xiron looked around at his soldiers. Many were exhausted, some injured, but all were alive. Their greatest enemy had been defeated, not by their own people, but by humans. The Theru Council gathered, eyes wide in awe. How can such a small species accomplish this?" one elder whispered. Humans moved calmly among the Theru, helping the wounded, repairing damaged machines, and organizing the survivors. Not a single human demanded rewards, glory, or territory. They had come for one reason: to help. Captain Rhea Cole approached Xiron. Her face was calm, her voice steady. "You asked for reinforcements," she said simply. "Humanity showed up. That is all." Xiron's antennae twitched as he processed her words. You did not come for power or profit, only to help us." Cole nodded. "We never forget a debt, and we never leave an ally behind. That is what humans do." Around them, Theru soldiers and civilians whispered in amazement. They had fought bravely, but humans had changed the course of the battle, and maybe even the galaxy. Even the Devourers, retreating into the darkness of space, would remember this day. A small species, underestimated by all, had defeated their command fleet with strategy, courage, and relentless determination. Xiron turned to his council. "The legends, the stories about humans, we underestimated them. They are not just strong. They are extraordinary." Cole signaled her fleet. The ships rose silently into the sky, forming perfect formation. Humans did not stay to rule. They did not linger for praise. They had completed their mission. They had protected those in need. As the human armada jumped into warp space, Cole's voice echoed one last time over the comms. Remember this, Commander Zyron. When humans show up, they do not ask for thanks. They do not fear the impossible. They protect. They fight. And they never, ever fail those they stand beside. The Theru watched in awe as the human fleet disappeared into the stars. For the first time, they understood why the galaxy feared humanity, not for their cruelty or size or weapons, but for their unmatched courage and loyalty. And on Vorth 9, a simple truth settled in every mind. When aliens request reinforcements, they pray humanity does not answer. Unless they're on their side, the planet would heal. The Theru would rebuild. But the memory of humans, their power, strategy, and courage, will remain forever etched in the galaxy's history. And somewhere among the stars, humans moved silently, ready to answer the next call, wherever and whenever it came. The galaxy was quiet for a moment. Vorth 9 was slowly recovering. Fires were dying out. Debris floated across the scarred land, and the Theru began to rebuild their cities and defenses. But far above, in the black emptiness of space, ripples of humans' actions were being felt. Commander Zyron stood on a high cliff, watching the sky. He could still see faint traces of the human fleet fading into warp space. They are gone, he murmured, but their presence, it changes everything. The Theru soldiers whispered among themselves. They had fought the Devourers before, but never had victory felt so absolute. And they knew why. It was human strategy, human courage, and human loyalty that had turned the tide. Meanwhile, far from Vorth 9, across the galaxy, other species picked up on strange signals. Distress calls had been answered by humans before. But now, the story of Vorth 9 spread quickly. Tales of the small, relentless species that never failed an ally stirred fear and awe alike. In her flagship, Captain Rhea Cole observed distant stars. Her crew worked silently, maintaining weapons and scanning the galaxy for the next call. She spoke softly to her team. We did what we had to do, but this is only the beginning. Somewhere out there, someone will need humanity, and we will answer always. The Theru, now safe, rebuilt their cities and celebrated humanity quietly. They could not hope to match humans' courage, their unbroken focus, or their way of thinking, and they did not need to. They had witnessed something greater, a species that was more than power, more than strength, more than speed. Humans were legends alive in the galaxy. A young Theru soldier turned to Zyron. Do you think they will come back? Zyron smiled faintly, a mixture of awe and fear in his eyes. If we call them again, they will. And when they do, the galaxy will never be the same. High above, among the stars, the humans moved silently, always vigilant. The echo of their arrival, courage, strategy, and loyalty would linger forever. Every alien in the galaxy now had one thought. Do not underestimate humanity. Never. And somewhere deep in the darkness, far beyond Vorth 9, the first whispers of a new adventure began. Humans were coming, and when they did, the impossible would become reality. Far beyond Vorth 9, in the cold silence of deep space, the remnants of the Devourer fleet were regrouping. Their leaders were furious, their losses unimaginable. For the first time in their history, they had been outsmarted by a species they considered weak. Meanwhile, humans were traveling quietly through the galaxy, patrolling, repairing ships, and monitoring signals. Captain Rhea Cole stood on the bridge of her flagship, eyes scanning distant stars. A faint distress call flickered on the console. It was weak, almost lost in the noise of space. But humans recognized it instantly. Cole's voice was calm but firm. All right, crew. Someone needs help. Prepare for jump. This is what we do. The crew moved swiftly, like a single organism. Ships powered up, drones aligned, weapons checked, shields activated. Nothing was rushed. Every action was precise, measured, perfect. Back on Vorth 9, Commander Zyron received a quiet message from Cole before a fleet vanished into warp space. We answered your call, and we will answer the next one. Humanity never forgets a friend. We never leave anyone behind. The Theru whisper among themselves, awed and fearful. They will always come. Always. Across the galaxy, other species began to hear stories. Tales of the small, unstoppable humans spread like wildfire. Some hoped to see them as allies. Others trembled in fear at the thought of facing them. In the darkness of space, humans moved silently, their next destination unknown, their power unmatched, their loyalty unshakable. One truth echoed across the stars. Wherever there is a call for help, humanity will answer. And when they do, the impossible becomes reality. And somewhere, far in the unknown corners of the galaxy, a new adventure awaited. A challenge unlike any other. But humans were ready. Always.